Welcome to Legends of the Inkwell. I'm Dakota.
I'm Jackie.
Legends of the Inkwell. I'm Dakota.
I'm Mike now that I have my microphone working.
Awesome.
Nailed
Today,
it.
we are having an emergency podcast episode. It is also our first live episode on Twitch, and we are mourning the loss of Hiram Flaversham, the humble toy maker, as well as Fortisphere, which we care slightly less about, but mostly Hiram. So we thought we'd have this
I
emergency
actually care more
podcast
about
to
Fortisphere.
thought we'd had this emergency podcast to chat about it a little bit and go over our different opinions. Some of us are for it, some of us are a little upset by it. But I think Mike prepared something for us. So, Mike, take it away.
Yes, I did. As an original Mission Impossible player, I had to write a eulogy to Hiram. And by write a eulogy to Hiram, I had to have AI help me with it because of the short time frame. But I think it is
Oh boy.
perfect, and it's what we started the stream with on Twitch for everyone to see. So, eulogy for Hiram Flaversham, inventor, dreamer, card advantage king. Ladies, gentlemen, and glimmers of all inkwells, we gather today not in mourning, but in reverent celebration of a card, whose spirit tinkered its way into our decks and hearts. Today we say farewell to Hiram Flaversham, who has been officially banned from the Lorcana trading card game. Though his time in the meta was short lived, it was nothing short of brilliant. With a pen tucked behind one ear and a sprocket in the other, Hiram never asked for the spotlight, but once he arrived, he drew it. Literally. And then he drew again, and sometimes again. A humble inkable at heart, Hiram offered us inspiration in cardboard form, a way to imagine a world where advantage could be engineered, where tempo was not a dream but a drawing board away. Yes, he may have been a bit too efficient. Yes, he may have enabled combos too smooth, too quick, too devastatingly beautiful. And yes, he may have single handedly caused three errata, two bannings, and one designer to mutter never again into their morning coffee. But we didn't love Hiram for his balance. We loved him for his unapologetic spark. He gave us hope in top decks, synergy in jank, and confidence in the look an opponent square in the eye and say, I'll draw two. So let us raise our sleeves, shuffle our memories, and tip our metaphorical hats to a true legend, gone from the format, but never from our binders. Rest in peace, Hiram Flaversham. May your gears turn forever in the great inkwell beyond.
Rest in peace. That was beautiful.
It's beautiful. Love it.
As
Great job there, Mike.
as my wife walks in right next to me, mic dropping.
So, yeah, for the people that don't know, today we got news from Ravensburger letting us know that both Hiram Flaversham, Toymaker, as well as Fortisphere were both banned effective April 8th, which is today, 2025, meaning all Disney Lorcana events taking place after that date will no longer accept deck lists with those cards included. This marks the first time cards have been banned since Disney Lorcana TCG launched in August of 2023. We have seen Bucky get errataed, but it wasn't banned. Basically, could have been, but this is our first ban list, which is two cards. So I think it's interesting, but I want to hear everybody else's opinion. Jackie, do you want to start?
So as everyone probably knows, this is my first TCG. So like I've never dealt with erratas or bans or anything. Um, so I don't know if this goes with, I don't know what's been done in the past, but it seems a bit dramatic to me, is the best way I can summarize it.
So I want to say two things. One, I want to emphasize that it's only banned in competitive play. So you can still play it at home. You can still enjoy it with your friends. It's like DLCs, whenever we get worlds, will not have it, for example. But, if your shop's running a casual event or something and like you're building theme decks, you can still run it. That is the current understanding of the ban. Now, to go off of what Jackie just said, though, I think it's absolutely beautiful that Ravensburger is finally banning cards that completely define a meta or the game as a whole, because this is very common in TCGs. So, like One Piece, for example, just had a massive banning. I think it was 3 or 4 cards got banned in their most recent setup with this newest set that's coming out, and that ban started April 1st. Now, the difference Bandai did there, right, is that they gave, I think it was a 2 week notice for the ban. The ban today
Yeah.
from Ravensburger, which bothers me, is that no notice. It's just happening, like as of
Right.
this moment.
And, like, of course, there's not, like, a DLC around the corner, but there's tournaments left and right, like, what if you're playing I guess there's something going on this weekend that's pretty big that I don't know, how do you even prepare for that in 3
You
days?
practice for weeks of having Hiram in your deck, and now you're playing a tournament this weekend and you don't get it. I guess you got to play
Right,
Kitty Hobbs
exactly.
as a backup plan, but
Well, you
it's
can
not a
play
great backup
Monsieur de
plan.
Arc. Your backup's Monsieur de Arc, which everyone seems to forget about the one drop that draws you cards for sacrificing
True.
items. But no, I mean, I agree. I mean, it really sucks for some people because I've been talking to a few friends today, and there's been a lot of cases of I just built my new deck. I'm really excited to start with this, blue steel,
Mhm,
or running down the path of working with red blue. Like there's a lot of people trying to figure this out and are just learning and getting into it. It really sucks for them because they probably just invested $20 into a playset of Hirams, and another dollar because Fortisphere was banned too, for Fortisphere. So, but ultimately 20 some dollars into a playset of cards, 2 playsets of cards that they can't use in tournaments that are have like legitimate pricing to them now. At the
And I
same
think
time,
with
though,
that, right,
oh,
building that deck, they could also, now that they don't have those cards, maybe that deck doesn't run as good as it used to, which is kind of the point of banning those cards, right? Now is the rest of the cards that they had for that deck still worthwhile? I think a lot of them are, but I think there's also some that probably not going to play as much anymore, right? Like for example, I think of one off the top of my head would be like Tipo, right? I'm probably gonna more likely play Sail now and not play Tipo anymore because I can't replenish my hand where Tipo takes that card out of my hand. At least Sail replaces itself, right? So it kind of has like a spiral effect of other cards that also get removed, not from the game, but from very specific deck lists that run blue Sapphire.
yeah, for agree with that. I also think it'll be nice because maybe people will try using Maurice now.
True. Yeah, I think
Oh,
there's definitely options to move forward, but I'm not sure that they're going to run as smooth. And I think it's I think it's going to change how Sapphire is played as a whole. And that's what I kind of don't like because I've played Sapphire since the set 2 essentially. Set 1 I was just Amber, Amethyst, aggro, but set 2 on I've been Sapphire the whole time, either Ruby Sapphire or Sapphire Steel starting last set. And this kind of just crushes my decks.
I mean, no, but I agree. I mean, Dakota, you and I met and we were both running Ruby Sapphire.
Right.
Like it was a month straight of we'd run into each other playing at leagues, and hey, we're both running the same
So
deck.
many
Like I
mirrors.
had a location version, you had a different version. Like my wife beat you in England's championship for first place when you were running Ruby Sapphire.
Had
Just
to
going to
throw
give
that in
that
there,
plug
didn't
real
you?
quick again. I had to throw that in there. We had the shot, we're taking it. But I will say that is an example. I don't think Hiram is the true problem. I appreciate the ban, and I think it's a good target to help the current state of the meta, but I don't think Hiram is the actual issue. I think it's that we had 4 giant, extremely powerful blue cards get printed in the same set. I mean, Sapphire Coil, Tamatoa, Scrooge McDuck, and then the
yeah.
Bell. All four of those created pretty much a guaranteed 16 of in a lot of different variants of decks in the beginning of the set. And now Sapphire Coil is just so oppressive to play against. If your opponent gets two coils out, you're never, especially if they're running red blue, you're never getting anything to stay on the field for more than a turn. And
And
I, I'll let you go. Sorry.
so I just think that what you were saying was you think it's good for the meta, but I also see that, yeah, this set started with a very blue steel heavy meta, and people have figured out how to go around it. And like I've played blue steel all last set and all this set, and I'm not winning every league. I'm not winning every tournament, you know? Like I'm yeah, sometimes I place top 8, but I think I don't think it was that oppressive of a deck. For example, Emerald Steel, where you basically were winning almost all the time with Emerald Steel back when we had Bucky. Now Blue Steel comes along, you're not winning all the time with Blue Steel because you're losing to aggro constantly. It's just not fast enough. And this meta that we were in before today was probably the most diverse meta we've had out of all the sets. So I don't know how
So
we're
I
making
think
the meta better if we already have a great meta that's very diverse.
I do not think the meta is diverse at all.
Really?
Have you seen the conversion rates at like the two big tournaments from this past weekend?
I agree. The big tournaments definitely have a lot more Sapphire Steel winning them, but local meta for us at least. We had
Well, right.
the 1K you went to last weekend. I believe it was a Amber Emerald discard deck that won that one.
Yes. So I will say the Amber Emerald discard deck won, but over half of the top eight was either red blue or blue steel. So the best decks on the day were all red blue and blue steel. The Amber Emerald was just on a I mean, and I know that Amber Emerald player, like he was on a roll. It was one of those stars aligned, doing great. I'm not saying it was bad deck or bad player either. Like that was a perfect storm where he could do well. But in reality, majority of the good plays that day were running either red blue or blue steel. I mean, red blue is what knocked me out from being able to squeak into top eight because it just 2-0'd me, even though all the rest of my matches on the day were good for me. And that was because of the double coil. So I agree that like the meta seems diverse to us, especially in the Michigan area, but outside the rest of the country, it's really not. I mean, France had a 200 and some odd person tournament apparently this past weekend. I'd have to pull it up to go check exacts, but they had a huge tournament and the top 8 was literally half red blue and almost all blue steel is my understanding.
Yeah, and if you think about it before in past sets, though, let's say set 4, set 5, right? It was Ruby Sapphire and Ruby Amethyst that were the tops, right? Majority Ruby Amethyst. And then we had some Ruby Sapphire. Obviously, we had the Emerald Steels sprinkled in there as well. But
Yeah.
like those were the two top decks for forever. And Ruby Amethyst was the top deck for almost all the sets so far. And now that Blue Steel came along, Ruby Amethyst kind of went to the side. It was the first time that Ruby Amethyst wasn't our main deck that was winning everything. And now we're going to be back to Ruby Amethyst winning everything again, it feels.
I don't last set Ruby Amethyst wasn't winning everything. Yeah, Edmund Chu won. Edmund Chu won nationals for sure, but
Yeah.
it wasn't the deck. I mean, it, the deck last set was what? It was set 6. What was like the top 2 decks last set? Red Blue was still one of them. Ruby
Red Blue's
Sapphire was
always up there.
definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ruby Sapphire was one of them. Um,
Steel Song.
yeah, Steel Song too, I
Diggy
guess.
Diggy.
Like, oh, it was Diggy Diggy. It was Diggy Diggy. That's what it was. It was the Diggy Diggy Steel, like Amber Steel, right?
Right.
Diggy Diggy and Red Blue were like the big bads last set. And Ruby Am, the reason Edmund did so well was he predicted the red blue wave at
Right.
nationals and was running the library castle combos to make sure that he could shut that down and get that advantage.
If
So
we
he
if we
did
look
well.
back over all the DLCs though, saying that the DLCs are the top, when was the last time that a Sapphire deck won a DLC outside of the Australia DLC?
Didn't it happen in like Europe too?
I think Europe has a different meta than North America, but I don't think a Sapphire won any of the North Americas, maybe one.
I disagree. Let me check. I'm going to sanity check right now.
Yeah, I think let's double check that, but I think it's been very very heavy against Sapphire on the North American side to preface. Yeah. I know Europe they have Ruby Sapphire win a lot, but on the North American side, I believe that Atlanta was Steel Song, Chicago
No, Atlanta
was
was Amber. No,
Ruby
Atlanta was
Amethyst,
Amber Amethyst.
Amber Amethyst. Oh right, it was the Mufasa.
Right.
And then Chicago was Emerald Steel,
Interesting.
Toronto.
Give me 1 second, guys.
So yeah, looking through the DLC deck that won, we have the France DLC, which was Amber Steel. We have the Atlanta, which was Amber Amethyst. We have Chicago, which was Emerald Steel. We have Germany, which was Ruby Amethyst. We had Fort Worth, which was Ruby Amethyst. We had Italy, which was Ruby Sapphire. So there's one. We had Toronto, which was Amber Emerald. We had Birmingham, UK, which was Ruby Sapphire. So two total so far. Las Vegas was Emerald Steel. Seattle was Emerald Steel. And then North American DLC was Ruby Am. North American Continentals, Ruby Am. What was Europe? Was Ruby M. And then North America was Ruby Sapphire. No, was it? North America
North
was
America
Ruby M.
was Ruby Am.
And
Yeah.
then Australia was Ruby Sapphire. So three were Sapphires, none of which were Sapphire Steel.
And Hiram's a set 2 card.
And
Okay. Wait a
and
second.
there
So
was
is your problem
four
that?
Ruby Amethysts, right?
Yeah. Agree.
And there was three Emerald Steels. So it's very very much those top three decks outside of the two outliers of Amber Amethyst and what was the other weird one? Uh, Amber Emerald, Toronto. So
Oh yeah. Right. That one.
so I mean, what I'm saying is, yeah, it's Sapphire's good, but it's not perfect.
I mean, you're using historical evidence outside of the current set.
I'm using historical
That's
evidence
that.
since Hiram was a card.
So,
So the
also I just my little tidbit here. I mean, the meta changes for every single set release, and we're only, I mean, a month away, month and a half away from the next set. So, like, this is back to me thinking it's a bit dramatic. Is this comes out of like left field? We haven't heard anything from Ravensburger in months, and then ban cards and don't even. I don't know. I just feel like give it another month and it's going to change with the new set.
So
I
I
think
think
that's a good point.
I think the solution. I think Fortisphere was the wrong target because of that. I think
You
if they
wanted
were going
popsicle,
to do anything, it should have been Hiram in Popsicle.
but then you ruin all of Blue's items.
No, you don't. There's unconventional tool. There's
That's
Maurice's
that's Ruby.
whatever invention.
Okay.
Okay. You're right. You said all Sapphire's items. That's fair.
Right.
Okay, well, wait. What items does the steel have?
Steel has Shield of Arendelle and
Less cannon.
yeah.
Okay. We're going to talk about Steel Chromacon, which is one of the worst items in the game.
I'm gonna look it up now, just
Yes, it
so that
is.
we know what we have,
Its
right?
Plasma Blasts are just worse.
Yeah, so one drop steel items. You have Shield of Arendelle, Fortisphere, Last Cannon. For Sapphire, you have Ice Block, Popsicle, Magic Golden Flower, and Scepter of Arendelle. But Sapphire is meant to be an item heavy color. It's in its card archetyped.
Okay, so then what is Steel supposed to be? Because wasn't the statement that Steel has enough options for card draw? What
Yes.
card draw does Steel actually have?
Um, Storm.
Okay, so a cantrip. Like we have
Um,
Storm, we have I'm Still Here,
I'm still
we
here.
have the Rapunzel card that I can't remember the
Deal
name of.
Coil. During your turn, whenever a card is put
Recoil's
into your
not draw.
inkwell, you may draw a card, then choose and discard a card.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't count that as draw because that's filtering.
right. Same with sunglasses.
Right. Like you can argue that Doc and Whole New World draw you cards
Right. Yeah,
if
the
you
bayous
time them
also
properly, right? Right.
filter.
The filter.
So yeah,
Right.
it's
Steel
Storm
does a
and
lot
Whole
of
New World.
filtering. Right. Steel does a lot of filtering. It doesn't
Ooh,
have much like actual draw. Besides three songs I can think of, and then Fortisphere. So
Musketeer
you drop
Tabard.
Fortisphere. Okay, you've got Musketeer Tabard. You also have Captain Hook's Rapier. I guess you could argue too. You could also argue that Raya, the 7-drop Raya from Ursul's Return, draws you cards, but she's a 7-drop
Right.
with no shift.
Right.
So barely anyone like I tried running her in Red Steel this set, but Big
Most of
Cinder
it's
like
filtering
Cinderella
though.
Stout-Hearted is better. Huh?
Most of it is filtering though.
Right. Like Robin Hood draws you a card, but he has to be banished in a challenge.
There's
The Shift
Doc.
Robin Hood. Yeah.
Yeah, the
And,
doc.
and Doc is
If you time
one
it
of the
well.
best card draws. Yeah. But Doc is one of the best card draws in the game for sure. I mean, he's $20 now in TCG Player. All the blue steel decks are just saying, okay, I won't run Hiram. I'm going to go more aggro with Docs.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, that's an option.
Yeah, I mean, without Hiram, you're basically switching from the Tamatoa items build to the Kiwi Birds build that's more aggro.
Exactly. And that by no means is that bad, right? There's nothing wrong with doing that.
Right.
It's just I'm happy that the ban is here. I just am not. I'm happy that Art Ravensburger is trying to do a ban to amend the overall situation. I just feel like it could have been executed a bit better. I don't
I
think
100%
like
agree with that.
yeah, I don't I understand hitting Fortisphere to prevent blue steel from having that consistent bell drop because that is very hard to deal with, especially with how many 3-drop steel songs exist.
Are you limiting the bell drop? I mean, they're just gonna
Yeah.
play Shield of Arendelle.
Well, but they're
That way
going
you
to get
still have
less
eight.
card draw.
True, potentially.
That's the catch. Like you're removing them the card draw. You're moving the card draw capability. But here's the thing, right? Blue Steel has had Popsicle, Fortisphere, and Hiram since set 4.
Yeah,
It
I
was
believe somebody did
a
the
thing,
math at one point, and you could get, if you were playing Ruby Sapphire with the mulligan, you could get Popsicle, Fishbone Quill, and Hiram in your hand 62% of the time with being able to mulligan all the cards available to you.
right? Right.
So if you're if you're now only looking for Popsicle and Bell, right, 8 cards in the deck, that number jumps up to like 74% by mulling everything else. So there's
And there
still
it
a
is.
very high chance. Obviously, with the Fortisphere, it bumped it up to like 90%, right? You still had that 10% that was bad from the Bell, but
Yeah, but that's my point. Like 90% chances are what makes decks so consistent. And Blue Steel was just too consistent. And let me phrase, I don't think it was too consistent because I built my deck to handle Blue Steel. Blue Steel actually wasn't my bad matchup. Red Blue was my bad matchup with
right.
what I'm running and testing right now. So I'm actually more upset about how this is going to affect my deck, because I built it to deal with the Blue Steel meta.
Right. So this is where I was going with the spiral, right? Like, yeah, it spirals me out where I'm not going to play Tipo probably anymore, but it also spirals into, okay, you built a deck to defeat Blue Steel. Now it's like, oh, Blue Steel's gone. What are we doing now? And everybody's got
Yeah.
to figure that
No,
out and build a new deck again. I think I'm just
that
throwing too
is
many
it.
hops in. That's just what I think I'm going to do.
I honestly think that Red Blue is not going to suffer much from this.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't know how well they're going to draw cards, but I think that's going to definitely affect them a little bit.
I mean,
But
think about it. Let's talk about Red Blue with Maui real quick. Think of all the blue actions that let you just pull a card you want from your deck that don't even say draw, right? You have how far I'll go. You sing how far I'll go on turn 4 on turn 3, let's say, after you just did a Tipo or a sale, and you're going to be at 6 ink on turn 4, and you just got an extra card off of it too. You can have Maui fish that back. You can do develop your brain. You can do what do you
make
call it?
Chicho work.
Visions of the future. Huh?
You need to make Chicho
Chicha?
work. Yeah,
No, I don't know. Chicha will never work. She dies to removal every time. We've told you this so many times.
it might happen now.
And we've lost Jackie. She is just a bar with no image.
Okay. Well, we tried.
Um, no, but I'm just saying, like you have all these actions that just build off of Maui. So people are just going to say, okay, I'm going to throw actions in here that go sort through my deck and pull cards in my hand that don't actually say draw. And then
Yeah.
by doing that, they're still getting around Diablo. Like I get the idea. I just don't think it truly fixes the problem
Yeah,
that
I
we
think
have right now.
maybe Helping Hand might come into play a little bit, but it's not inkable. That's the issue with that one.
Oh yeah, that one.
You
Doesn't
give
Nothing to
support and
Hide
then
draw you a
draw.
card?
Nothing to hide. Yes,
Isn't
where you
that the
look
one
at
drop
both
from
hands.
Floodborn? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then draw.
And that's an option that people may start considering. Is, oh, I get to pay one, I get to see what's in your hand, and I get to draw. Oh, I got a lure off of Shark from doing that too, by the way. So I don't. I mean, I agree. Blue had too much card draw as it is. Well, it's not draw per se because it doesn't say it in some of the cards, but like blue already has enough card draw. So I really think these changes hurt blue steel way more than they do red blue. I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
within a
because
week someone's
red blue you just throw in like like I was saying, when you take Tipo out, you throw one jump ahead back in, right? And you just have the bell sing one jump ahead. And then
Yeah,
you also play a
right.
sail, right? You just ramp like crazy that
Exactly.
way instead of having Hiram. And then you bring back the how far out goes and things like that. And
Right.
then you
And
just
like
have Scrooge sing it.
what other 4-drop like red blue cards exist, right? Like let's think about this real quick. Let's brew this and just cook for a second. What exists that we can throw into red blue
Royal Tantrum.
that would well no, I mean characters. Like what 4-drop red blue characters exist that would give you an advantage over your opponent and enable you to start singing how far I'll go. Like that's the thing, and like if you get to sing how far I'll go, then things get a little wild.
Yeah, so you got like the red Maurice. When you play it, you can banish an item to draw a card. That's a 4 cost
Right.
inkable.
Yeah, but he
Um,
doesn't. The thing with him is he isn't repeatable like Hiram.
no, not repeatable. There's
So
there's no so I'm just looking at things that say draw on them, and it's Dinner Bell, Royal Tantrum, Hiram, and Maurice. If I remove draw,
yeah,
then it changes it a bit.
all right. Well, I'm saying like, what are impact cards that can really make a difference? That you play this and singing with it next turn just helps anyway. Like for example, you have Prince John, which lets you play 5 cost or less items for free.
Right.
Like he's an option. I don't think he's realistic, but he's an option. Um, you have the Aurora that gives all your items ward, and then you can look at the top card of your deck with that too. And she's a shift target. Tala's still great. She draws you cards. So you still run Tala, right?
Right.
Nick
This
Wild lets you bring back Popsicle. Like there's an example, right? You can literally sacrifice Popsicle at some point. Play Wild, you get Popsicle for free, and you have a two drop lure.
Yeah.
I mean 4-drop that lures for two.
Yeah, I think you replace it with Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps, right? Or if you go more towards the ramp side of things, replace it with the bell from set one that allows you to ink another card and gets +4 lore when you get to 10. I think it's going
Or
to be banished by a lot of things, but it's an option.
or just to fight aggro, you just throw in 4 super goofs. You
Yeah,
take the DKP route. You no
right.
longer are running Hiram. Let's see what happens if I got stuff that can deal with aggro and gain me lore at the same time.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're
Like
doing that, you're going to play a challenge type deck where you're going to go Ruby Steel.
no, no, the DKP like look at DKP's list. He runs the goofs and the McDuck Manors for that reason. He runs a completely different brew of Ruby Sapphire for that reason.
Right.
Because you always have to be afraid that if he drops Super Goof on you, he's just going to win. He's just going to win, going 18 to 20 in a single play because you just get for challenging.
One other, it's not going to make it worse, but I guess it is going to affect it, right? The new bell, the dual ink bell, when you play, um, when you play it
If you're the one that costs less,
for each item in your discard.
yeah,
So now, if you don't have the Hirams putting items into your discard as often, it's going to be harder to play that bell. And then that bell also, when it quests, you put up to 3 items cards from your discard to the bottom of your deck, and you gain lore equal to each item, right? So if you put 3, you gain 3. So you gain 6 lore from her by doing that. And if you have a harder time getting rid of items, right, it makes her worse. It makes both Tamatoas worse because you're not bringing items back anymore as often. sure, Popsicle you can still banish to heal something, but all the other items you're not going to be able to bring back as readily.
No,
You got to
that's
rely on
fair
the
too.
bell. You got to rely on the bell to basically put them in your discard. I don't know.
I
It'll
don't know.
be
I'm looking
interesting.
right now I'm looking right now at everything that exists that are 4 drops. I feel like there has to be something here that is, oh yeah, that makes sense as a great Hiram replacement, but I'm not seeing it just yet. Like Scrooge, kind of, but you need to have a very item centric deck,
Yeah, I guess
which
if
Blue
you do
Steel
need,
isn't. Like,
yeah, if you do need to band items, you would probably start playing Glean, I guess, where you banish an item to gain 2 lore, and then you bring it back with the Tamatoa.
yeah,
That could work.
I feel like there's plenty of ways to make this work. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm honestly not concerned about Ruby Sapphire coming back from this. I don't. I think Blue Steel will. I think like Zoolander will have the problem coming back from this. I mean, think about it, right. We went from Blue Steel being like a good deck, but never the deck, to this set. It's finally the deck, and then oh, it's dead.
Mm. Real fast.
Like we're just calling it. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm I'm not bald enough to be complaining about this, but I'm sure there's someone very not happy right now that Blue
Yeah.
Steel is no longer good after it finally was good.
Yeah, I mean, I've only started playing it last set, so I know there's definitely people that have been playing it for a long time. A lot of our friends haven't been. I know they're like
Yeah.
Sean, for example. He's been playing it since set 4, maybe 3, 4.
Yep.
So
He's
I'm
been playing
sure,
it since Ursula's return.
right, he'll be upset. Um, I think people that have been playing it that long are definitely going to be upset, but the people that just got on it this set, whether they're upset because they just bought all the cards for it or they're not too upset because, oh, I just started this. I'll go back to whatever I was doing before, kind of thing. All in all, at the end
Sure.
of the day, I hope that I, obviously, as I am upset about Hiram being gone because I do love the Hiram, I hope that it does change the meta and makes things better. And I'm willing to let it happen to see if it works. I'm also interested to see how much Hiram drops in price because he was at like $4 and some change, I think, before this. I don't know what he's at now. I'm
See
sure
how
he's
much
going to
his
plummet
Did
after
you see how
this.
much his foil was?
Yeah, $33 the other
His,
day.
yeah, his Hiram was like his foil was insane. I only had one, so I'm gonna get a playset of foils after this. He is currently $1.
He's currently $1, so that's
Yep.
$3 lost. And this might be a good maybe test, right? Of hey, if Ravensburger ever decides they're going to do rotations, how is it going to affect the card market for collectors and things like that? And we can see pretty quickly here that Hiram dropped 75% within hours of
I
of
was
this
gonna say
happening.
his
So
his foils the foils already down to $13 too.
yeah,
Yeah.
so somewhere between 60 and
So that's insane.
75% it dropped
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Crazy.
crazy.
since
I mean, to be
noon
fair
today.
though, yeah. To be fair though, if rotation does come, it's probably going to be some type of eternal format will exist.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Like that
But
has to still exist, in my opinion.
I think it does still affect the card market at the end of the day. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens. I hope everything goes how they planned it to go with the new ban list, and I'm still gonna play the game. I'm still gonna have fun. I'm still going to attempt to be a DLC winner one day, even though I probably won't be. But I'm gonna try my best, and I'm gonna have fun doing
No, you're going to say you will be, and then you will. You will
it.
will it into existence.
Need to start hanging out with more DLC champions, I guess.
As long as your opponent doesn't play last ditch effort and kill your Hiram.
It won't be a problem anymore.
All right. Well, I think this because we all have work tomorrow.
Yep.
I think we're approaching the end of our emergency Let's Discuss and Mourn Hiram stream. And the sad part is we haven't even talked about Fortisphere that much. Just a little bit.
I mean, it was an okay card.
Was
It
it
was
really
nice
going to be
having an extra
missed?
popsicle. Never really used it for the bodyguard effect.
I'm
No,
not even
I
sure
don't.
what it is.
Fortisphere is a one drop
What,
inkable.
I
Pay
know
this
the
card,
card,
draw a
but like,
card.
is it a ball?
It's like the
So,
Vitalisphere and all those other ones.
right.
Similar to the
There's
coils in this set.
Vitalisphere. Yeah. There's Vitalisphere, Obscure Sphere, Fortisphere. Like you have all these different
Each
spheres
color
of
has
the
one.
different colors. Yeah.
So
Similar to
it's a
the
ball.
different coils, similar to the different. What's the other one that we have?
Yeah.
There's another item.
Ramacons.
Chromicons. There they are.
Yeah, we have coils, spheres, and chromacons. And like,
All right.
isn't the amethyst sphere the one that lets you bounce a card, I think? Right?
Mm, let me look.
Oh, there's only four spheres
Retrosphere.
right now. There's Retrosphere, which is lets you bounce a card. Obscura Sphere, which you can give all your characters ward. Vitalisphere, which gives you +2 and rush. And then Fortisphere, which drew you a card and
Guard.
you could use to give body.
Yeah, Retrosphere is just a bad snake. It's a one cost inkable that you had to pay to banish it to return chosen character, item, or location with cost 3 or less to the player's hand.
Yeah, but you know what it worked well with?
Locations. Lucky
Lurple
dimes.
Hiram.
Not anymore.
Nope. Can't have nice things. Hey, you know what? You know what this means? Maybe we'll get the bird banned.
I don't know.
Maybe,
If it hasn't been
maybe
banned yet, I mean.
Well,
I mean,
I said that
Hiram's a
about
set two
Hiram
card.
like 2 weeks ago. So
Like, I was gonna say, like, we've been saying for months, Hiram's bad. Hiram's really good. The repeatability is insane. Like, the truth is, if Hiram was either draw one or you had to quest with it to draw, you didn't get the draw from just playing it, it would have been so much better. It still would have been good, but it wouldn't have been as good and repeatable as it was before today.
well, I mean, we could also ban the rabbit.
The rabbit's not even that.
Yeah, but
No,
until
the
you start
rabbit draws you
bouncing
two.
it and all that fun stuff, you draw so many cards.
Yeah,
Purple
but
draws
okay,
way
the
more
the
cards than
rabbit's
blue.
no, 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 no. The rabbit draws you more cards at the cost of ink, right? So think about it this way with blue. You pay one for popsicle, you quest with Hiram, you just drew 3 cards for 1 ink. With rabbit, you play the rabbit, that's 4 ink to play it. Then you have to bounce it with something else, which is either snake or fox. That's now 2 or 3 more ink. So it's 6 or 7 ink to draw 2 cards. So you're telling me
Yeah.
6 or
And
7 ink to draw 2 cards
when
is
it's banished,
as
you also draw a
powerful?
card.
Okay, sure, but like, okay, so I now paid 4 ink for 2 cards, which is the
It's
same as
not the
Hiram
rabbit
until you
by
start
itself,
questing.
it's the rabbit with the snake or fox with genie, right? It's the combination of the four of them that make
I
Well,
dis
anyway.
Amethyst draw more
I
cards.
disagree. Your math is off on this. Don't make me Six Sigma
Diablo
this.
draws so many cards.
Well, yeah, no, Deebs has been a problem. I think Deebs is
Diablo
going to
against
make an
Hiram
appearance.
draws even more cards.
I think Diablo is going to make a new appearance soon.
Oh, for sure.
Much more prevalent than before with this gone now. And I predict that in 2 weeks, blue green is going to be the deck.
I started building a
Ooh.
discard deck at
Yep,
noon today
we both been.
when this came out.
We've both been, man. I've been trying to make the new Bucky work, and I'm like on the edge of it, but I just don't think it's possible. I think I'm going to try my Oswald blue green jank again,
Yeah, I like it.
but
Good luck with that.
I won't have Hiram any, which I
You
needed. So that's
you
one of the
have Nick
reasons I'm
Wilde
like
and Judy
50-50
Hopps.
on it. It's not the same.
Judy Hopps is cheaper.
All
All
right.
right, everyone.
Yep.
50
That's the end of
minutes
the
in,
night.
and we all got work tomorrow. Yeah.
Thanks for joining the Emergency Podcast, and we'll see you guys all next time. Bye-bye.
Jackie, you got something to say?
It's a great day to have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.